All right, welcome everyone. Today we are diving into a modern business classic that really flipped the script on how we think about competition. It's Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauburn. We're going to talk about how to find brand new markets and basically leave your rivals in the dust.
So, the authors kick things off with this really powerful image, the red ocean. And this quote, man, it just gets right to the point. It's that world we all know, where companies are just in this brutal fight for market share, metaphorically turning the water red. Sound familiar?
And yeah, this is where most businesses are living, day in and day out, swimming in these bloody waters. It's the market you already know, where the whole game is about fighting tooth and nail for a slightly bigger piece of a pie that isn't getting any bigger. You know, it's a zero-sum game. For you to win, somebody else has to lose, and that constant battle just grinds down everyone's profits.
So, in a red ocean, you're basically playing a game where everybody already knows the rules. Your whole strategy comes down to being just a little bit better or maybe a little bit cheaper than the next person. And it forces you into this classic, really frustrating corner. Do you make a better thing for more money or a kind of okay thing for less? It's a super restrictive way to think about your business.
But what if you could stop fighting harder and just leave the fight completely? What if you could make all that competition totally irrelevant? Well, that is the core promise of finding and creating a blue ocean.
Okay, and this slide, this is where you really see the huge shift in thinking. Just look at this, side by side. Instead of trying to beat the competition, you make them irrelevant. Instead of fighting over the customers who already exist, you go out and create new ones. And here it is, the real game changer. You stop making that old trade-off between great value and low cost. You go for both. It's a leap from being a little better to being totally different.
So the big question is, how do you actually find these big open blue oceans? It's not about luck or just random ideas. The engine behind this whole strategy, the thing that makes it go, is a concept the authors call value innovation.
Now here's the key. Value innovation isn't just about coming up with cool new technology. It's about hitting that perfect sweet spot where there's a huge leap in value for your customer and at the same time, a leap in value for your company. The innovation has to be tied directly to what people actually want, creating something so much better that they stop even thinking about the old options.
And this, right here, just shatters one of the biggest, most accepted rules in business strategy. You know, conventional logic tells us you have to choose. More value costs more to deliver. Value innovation says, nope. You can actually rewrite the rules to give customers something amazing and do it with a lower cost. You get to have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, let's get practical. How do you actually do this? To systematically break that value-cost trade-off and find a new market, the book gives us this brilliant, super simple tool, the 4 Actions Framework.
This framework is so powerful because it forces you to ask some really tough questions about your own industry. As you walk through these 4 steps, eliminate, reduce, raise, and create, you're not just tweaking things. You are actively taking apart the old way of doing business to build something brand new.
And the classic example, the one everybody talks about, is Cirque du Soleil. It's perfect. See, they didn't try to build a better circus. They built a totally different kind of entertainment. They got rid of the expensive animal acts and star performers, and instead, they created this artistic theatrical experience. They didn't just steal customers from Ringling Brothers, they created a whole new market of adults who would happily pay top dollar for a sophisticated show. The old circus competition just became irrelevant.
So once you've gone through those 4 actions, you can map it all out on something they call a strategy canvas. Just picture a graph where you plot everything your industry competes on. In a red ocean, everybody's graphs look kind of the same. But a blue ocean strategy, your line, what they call your value curve, will look completely different. It's a visual blueprint of how you're broken away from the pack.
So this all sounds amazing, right? But does this approach actually, work in the real world? Is it worth all the effort to go find a blue ocean? Well, the data from the author's research is honestly incredible.
Well, check this out. The numbers just speak for themselves. In their study of over 100 companies, the vast majority of new business launches, like 86% of them, were just small improvements, classic red ocean moves. And all that effort only brought in 39% of the profits. But that tiny sliver of launches that were true blue ocean creations, that little 14%, generated a mind-blowing 61% of total profits. The impact is just on another level. So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, really. The path to real, game-changing growth, it usually doesn't come from fighting harder for your piece of the pie. It comes from baking a whole new pie. It's about creating new demand where none existed before.
And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Look at your own industry, your own job. What are the rules that everybody just accepts without question? What could you challenge to start charting your own course into clear, uncontested blue waters?